for it. Shalom. I want to begin this lesson by giving all praise, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachak Warash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who have taught us all this truth in the spirit and power. Salaki of Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. I'm Shaquat, and I'm back here with another lesson, Lord willing and edifying to the hopeful elect, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Barakatham to you, sincere Akyom, Walkwathium, and a sincere shalom to you brothers that are out here pushing this truth out on the highways and the byways and through the YouTube lessons, man. Shalom to you all. Lord willing, this lesson be edifying and exhorting to the elect. All right, so without further ado, we're gonna get into it. You see by the title, it's Haram. All right, so we're gonna go to the definition of Haram to begin this thing, and then we're gonna go to Instagram and play the clip. All right, that I'm talking about, the clip in question. Essentially, you women have completely lost your mind. Y'all are bugged the hell out. I see why y'all were referred to multiple times in the scriptures as a female ostrich. When you go and do some research on what on a female ostrich, they typically are very low in intelligence. They lack intelligence. All right, meaning they're ultimately fucking retarded. And you women have been compared to an ostrich multiple times throughout the scriptures. So, because when you're talking about a female ostrich, you think it's talking about a man? No, it's talking about you women. So anyway, now can a man be lumped into that? Because, yeah, men can act very feminine as well and act stupid like women. So don't get me wrong, there are men that fit that, but it was talking about women in a general sense. All right, y'all have lost your mind. So before we get into anything, before we go to the Instagram video, I would like to say this video will be conducted and protected under the Fair Use Copyrights Act of 1976, where this public information used in this video will be used simply for the purpose of education, teaching, and criticism, and research. This video is a non-profit video. This will not be monetized. All right, so let's go over here. So I typed in Haram. And you're going to see why I put Haram. I'm going to just tell you. I put Haram because the bitch said she was Muslim. And everything that came out of her mouth, according to the Muslim ways, is Haram. So it was just, just being funny, being facetious, really. It says in Islam, Haram refers to any action, behavior, or item that is explicitly forbidden or unlawful. It is the opposite of halal, permissible. Engaging in haram is considered sinful and is typically prohibited by the Quran or the teachings of the Prophet Muhammad. It says, this financial part is a perfect example of what this bitch was talking about. So we're going to go to it. Acts and items considered haram generally fall under the categories that are believed to cause spiritual, physical, and moral harm to the individual or society. Dietary, consuming pork, alcohol, or non-halal, not properly slaughtered meats. Financial, which is the point of this video, usury, interest, riba, gambling, and earning money through deception, theft, or exploitation. That's her. That's this woman trying to get money through deception, theft, and exploitation. Because when we watch this video, she basically is going to go into how she's going to be with her husband as long as he buys her whatever the fuck she wants and caters to her ultimately. All right. And if he can't do it or refuses to do it, she's just going to leave and give it another nigga. If that nigga won't do it, she's going to get another nigga. This shit is literally, according to y'all definition in the Muslim world, the Islamic world, is haram. It's haram. Which, as we would say, an abomination. It's an abomination. The shit's wicked. It's an abomination. Haram means what our wicked and abomination means. Shit crazy. It says social immoral, adultery, lying, backbiting, violence, and disrespecting parents. Well, that adultery and lying and backbiting, those three fit this woman. You're about to see. All right, so Yeah, that's it. I'll type this in. You know, it's not really important. I'll go to it.
I'm Muslim, so in our traditional relationship, the man is.
And look at the bitch. All that damn makeup on. Her eyebrows is fucked up. That ain't her real hair. But the bitch wants you to... Nothing natural about this hoe. Nothing's natural about this hoe. She gotta use external measures to enhance her looks. But you gotta do all this extravaganza shit for this bitch. It don't make no sense. Women are fucking delusional. All right, but just listen to what she say. What she says is worse.
I'm Muslim, so in our traditional relationship, the man is financially responsible. However, I want a man that can accommodate.
From my understanding, in a Muslim relationship, the man is typically financially responsible because over there in the Islamic region of the world, all right, near the Levant, near Western Asia, y'all, women don't typically work like that. And the man can make enough money with a simple job to cover the entire household. Bitch, we're in America. That shit is rare to come upon. Let's get that out the way first and foremost. And the correct thing to say is the man would be the head of the household. Meaning he's responsible for the household. Y'all just try to make it a financial thing because you bitches are greedy. Y'all are greedy. Listen, y'all fought so hard to work, your ass finna go work. You finna go work. And if your ass ain't, if you don't work, all right, because I got enough money and I say, you know, you ain't got to go to work. Bitch, I'm finna impregnate your ass. I'm going to be completely honest with you. You're going to be occupied with something, nigga. You're going to be occupied with something. Like, say I made enough money in this world, because as of right now, your ass going to work. But to say I made enough money to where I ain't want my woman to work no more, go out and work anymore, because I make enough money. You don't got to do it, so why do it? You know, the only reason we are doing it because, I mean, we have to. But if I had enough money to where you wasn't, I'm just going to impregnate you. You're going to be occupied with something. I'm not just finna let you be sitting there all day not doing nothing. A fuck nothing. No, y'all finna impregnate your ass. I'm going to keep impregnating your ass. Because y'all got to be occupied with something. You have to. All right? So anyway.
Date me once that accommodation.
Well, let's start it over.
I'm Muslim, so.
Spicy bowl. They ain't never seen a treadmill spicy bowl before.
Are you kidding me?
Get into it thicker. That's big grass. Hold on, let's see that. The Erie Town way, the Midwest way. What we talking about? Go ahead.
What the fuck?
Police, look! They are right there! I'm telling you! This shit is getting crazy. What the fuck do you mean? Treadmill, seafood boil. Seafood bowl. What the hell are we talking about? How the hell are you contradicting yourself? Damn treadmill. And then you got ruffled chips. And then you dip it into that dirty ass treadmill cup. I'm telling you, some people have no shame. You went there, put the food in the cup, and you.
I'm Muslim.
You see who made the video. So
I'm Muslim, so in our traditional relationship, the man is financially responsible. However, I want a man that can accommodate me once that.
Now, we'll stop there. We'll come back to the accommodation part. So even in our customs, typically back in the ancient world when things were more so in order, the man was financially responsible. Today, we are no longer financially responsible. We are in a different time. And I'm going to show you some scriptures to go into why. Now, I have some precepts set up over here. What was that? Exodus 21. All right, so we're going to go to Exodus 21. Just to show you, that's a part of our customs too. But Though all things are lawful, not all things are expedient. It's not expedient today to go by that because typically women have more opportunities in this society to make more money. So that really wouldn't work out usually. Now, you have some instances, like I said, where men can make enough money for that. But I'm going to be honest, even if I made enough money, but you still wanted to make money, your ass going to be paying something. You're not just going to make money for yourself. The shit finna be for me. If you not, because she's about to get into a whole accommodation thing, accommodating her. No. If you don't accommodate me, you could kick rocks, bitch. That's how that's supposed to go. All right, so anyway, we're going to read in the KJV as well as the NLT. It says, and if he betroth, in verse 9, and if he have betrothed her unto his son, he shall deal with her after the manner of daughters. If he take him another wife, her food, her raiment. So this shows you a man can have multiple wives. Once again, another scripture showing you a man can have multiple wives. Polygyny is in the Bible. All right, and I see a lot of brothers, if you come across this and you use the word polygamy, all right, that's not the correct term. All right, just to validate the point, all right, or validify the point, however you want to use that word. The correct term is polygyny because polygamy is made up of two different terms. Polygamy, within polygamy, there's polygyny and there's polyandry. Polygyny is the correct term because that's the term where men can have multiple wives. Polyandry means a woman can have multiple husbands. So when you're saying polygamy, you're saying polygyny and polyandry. So the correct term is polygyny. All right, that's the correct part of polygamy. All right, so you're not completely wrong saying polygamy, but to be more specific, polygyny. All right, because polygamy is made up of those two terms. All right, so anyway, it shows you a man can have multiple women. Polygyny is biblical. That's his God-given right. It says, if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment. Her food, all right, which, her food, her bread, her raiment, meaning her clothes, shelter, all that stuff, and her duty of marriage. All right, what is the duty of marriage? Her sex, your sexual duty to your wife. All right, because like Apostle Paul said in 1 Corinthians 7, all right, a woman cannot withhold herself from the man, and a man cannot withhold himself from a woman. Meaning, when there are two people married to one another, the husband's body no longer belongs to himself. It belongs to that wife and also his other wives if he has multiple. And the woman's body no longer belongs to herself. It belongs to the husband. But a lot of women today try to act like it's wrong for the man to feel entitled to his woman's body, to get head whenever he want. He's not wrong for feeling entitled. Just like you wouldn't be wrong for feeling entitled to your man's body. When you want some, you are entitled to get some. Same with the man. But women today act like it's wrong. That's not wrong. The hell you talking about? I am entitled to your body. Just because we married, I mean you're entitled to my body. Yes, it does. It literally does. The hell are you talking? What the fuck are we married for then? Bitch. Like, don't even make no sense. What are we married for then? At that point. Anyway, it says if he take him another wife, her food, her raiment, and her duty of marriage shall not be diminished. Or Salakia, shall he not diminish? All right, meaning do away with. And if he do not, these three, and I actually, before we get to that, let's read verse 10 in the NLT. If a man who has married a slave wife takes another wife for himself, he must not neglect the rights of the first wife to food, clothing, and sexual intimacy. All right. And we'll read KJV, verse 11 KJV, and then we're going to read in the NLT. And if he do not these three things, Slaki, these three unto her, then shall she go out free without money. And in the NLT, if he fails in any of these three obligations, she may leave as a free woman without making any payment. So what does that mean? A lot of women will see that today and say, well, see, if you don't take care of me financially and make sure you provide clothing and food for me today, I could just leave you and get another man. No. You can't do that today. The only reason the Lord put the Spirit on Moses to write this law was because Jake was so fucking hard-headed back then, and they was doing it anyway. So Moses was like, you know what, fine, if you do, all right. Supping with Jake in a sense, trying to bear with Jake, trying to give Jake a chance. Because they was doing that shit anyway. It was a bunch of adultery going on in this time. Because all this is adultery. You already popped a woman, but because you can't uphold them 3 obligations, and then she could just leave you, crazy work, and get with another nigga, a couple other niggas. How about that? Just to show you this law is not still standing today. This does not stand today. Just to show you is this right here. Let's go to Matthew 19, the words of Yahweh Shai himself. All right. Now we'll start at verse 4. Matthew 19:4. And he answered and said unto them, have ye not read that he which made them at the beginning made them male and female? So that shows you he didn't say male and male. He didn't say woman on woman. He didn't say man and 2 women. He didn't say 1 woman and 2 men. Male and female. Now, what I mean by that whole man and 2 women, meaning a threesome. He didn't say have a threesome. A threesome is unlawful. Now, does that mean a man can't have multiple wives? No. That doesn't mean that. A man can still have multiple wives. As long as you're not dealing with them at the same time, you're having sex at the same time. Then that's where you have a threesome, foursome. That's wicked. That's off. And when I said the 2 women to 1 man, I meant the 1 man to 2 women. I meant the the 1 woman to 2 men, goddamn it. Meaning getting a train ran on you, or a woman just being promiscuous. That's off. Off. Said male and female. And like I said, no male and male, no woman and woman. Yeah, no faggotry. None of that shit. It says, and said, for this cause shall a man leave father and mother, and shall cleave to his wife, and they twain shall be one flesh. All right, meaning they'll be united as one, which it says that in NLT actually. Now I'm looking over there. They shall be together as one. And why does it say a man gonna leave his father and mother? Because he's gonna start his own immediate families, I should say. Because if say he has multiple wives and you have multiple immediate families, but a man gonna start his own household. It's all of his household. He's gonna leave his father's household and he's gonna start his own, right? And he and that woman or women will become one flesh, literally. It says, wherefore, and that one flesh is through sex. You become one flesh through sex, literally. When your rod goes into the quiver, you're literally one flesh at that moment. All right. And your DNA, the man's DNA, is through sex is given into the woman. And the woman and that man's DNA is stuck with that woman for life, unless the Lord calls his spirit back to the spirit realm. That's the only time his DNA will be relinquished from her. But as long as he walked the earth, like the scriptures say, as long as he liveth, all right, she cannot get remarried. All right, that's in the Romans and etc. It's also in Matthew. And I was gonna make another point. Oh, and y'all are united in the spirit. Y'all are united in spirit. Okay, because that's what sex all goes back into, pair bonding. When you pair bonding, you have that's a spiritual thing. Sex is how you pair bond with one another. So it's a very spiritual thing. And what they call it, soul ties, that's real. Soul ties is just pair bonding, just different terms. Soul ties is a real thing. It's just pair bonding. That's it. Y'all are being joined one to another in spirit. Anyway, it's a very intimate thing. Salakia. Wherefore they are no more twain, but one flesh. What therefore God hath joined together, let not man put asunder. They say unto him, why did Moses then? So meaning you can't divorce. That's what he was going into. Then the people, they asked a valid question. This was a valid question. This is one of the few questions that wasn't retarded, because they was asking Yahushua a lot of dumb shit, trying to trick him into saying some nonsense. They say unto him, why did Moses then command to give a writing of divorcement and to put her away? And then you also have that noted in Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 and 26. If she don't bind to your will, put her away. Which you could do that today if your woman's not a virgin. If she's a virgin, you can't put her away. I don't care how much she's pissing you off. Now, if she's hindering you from doing the work, yes, you could put her away. If she commits adultery, you could put her away. But if she just acting like a goddamn woman, you can't put her away. If she's a virgin. Now, if she's not a virgin, I mean, technically, ain't your wife. But, you know, she's reborn in this truth, of course. If you come into this truth as a woman and you weren't a virgin in a body, you are reborn a virgin in the spirit until you get a new body where you're literally a virgin again. So then it's different, of course. All right. But anyway, that's a whole lesson for another day. He saith unto them, Moses, because of the hardness of your hearts, because of the hardness of your hearts, because Jake was hard-headed. They was doing it anyway. Suffered you to put away your wives, but from the beginning it was not so. And I say unto you, whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, and it don't matter if he marry another wife, that ain't causing a fornication. It means basically, if you put her away because you don't want to deal with her, or because you taking another woman, well, then you do this. Committeth adultery, and whoso marrieth her, which is put away, doth commit adultery. All right, so there you go. Which the NLT is better with this one. It says, and I tell you this, whoever divorces his wife and marries someone else commits adultery, unless his wife has been unfaithful. Well, never mind. It's not better. I thought it said something. I read it wrong. But anyway, you get the point. Y'all cannot divorce. So a woman, just like it's saying the man can't put away the woman here, the woman, you can't just leave a man because he ain't doing what you want him to do. And that's exactly what this bitch was saying in the video. Well, he ain't doing this for me no more. I'm just going to leave. No. And that's in our customs. Back in it's Exodus 21, starting in 8, where we just read it. The woman can leave if he ain't doing that. But that was because of the hardness of our hearts at that time. Now, fast forward to the time of Yahushua, he said, nah, fuck that. He only said that because y'all niggas was hard-headed. That's not how that shit supposed to roll. I don't care if the nigga broke, or shall I say poor. You can't do that. No. Now, y'all can separate, but you can't marry. You can't get remarried. You can't deal with nobody. Y'all can separate for a period of time and be rejoined. But you can't deal with nobody during that separation period. So, what? All right, so, yeah, that's the point. So let me go over here. So I got those two out the way. Oh, I'm dealing with Isaiah 4:1. So let's go to Isaiah 4:1 real quick. Then we're going to go back to the video. Just to show you again, in this time, we don't have to do that shit no more. We don't have to be fully financially in a financial provisionary state anymore in this time. Because it's very hard to do that anyway. So Isaiah 4:1, and in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach, their shame. So we don't gotta, in that time, the time coming very soon, and now we don't gotta provide your bread. We don't gotta provide clothing for you no more. This is literally going directly against Exodus 21, ain't it? We don't gotta provide your bread, which is said you gotta provide the bread. You don't gotta provide clothing, which is said you gotta provide the clothing. All we gotta do is give you the sex part. Because Exodus 21:9, it said you can't diminish providing food, you can't diminish providing clothing, and you cannot diminish sex. This time it says you don't have to provide the food or the clothing. You just got to provide the sex at this point. Because them being called by our name would be what? Marriage. Well, how does sex take place? How does sex happen? Slakia. How does marriage happen? Through what? Sex. It happens through sex. So we only got to get that part. And we just have to protect y'all. That's it. So it shows you in this time we don't have to do all that. All right, when you read it in the NLT, it says, in that day, so few men will be left that 7 women will fight for each man, saying, let us all marry you. We will provide our own food and clothing. Only let us take your name so we won't be mocked as old maidens. So they're going to provide for themselves at that point, which ultimately, like the elder Amawan Gabar always say, is really more so of a mindset. All hell done broke loose. Bitch, you ain't going to have shit no way. You ain't gonna be able to provide. It's really gonna be a mindset of in a sense of y'all not gonna hinder us. All right, y'all not gonna hinder us. You're not gonna bring any I can't think of the word. For lack of better words, like I've been saying, you're not gonna hinder us. All right, you're not gonna be a hindrance to us. That's all it's going into, really a mindset. Because all hell break loose. What are you really gonna provide for yourself? Let's be honest. All right, but the point is, right now we don't gotta financially provide for y'all if we don't want to. We want to pay our part and you pay your part. We can do that. You making money too. I don't see the problem. I don't see the problem. The fuck? A bitch will say all day long, I'm not your mama. I ain't got to cook, clean, do nothing. But then expect you to do what they daddy should have did then. I'm not your mama. Well, bitch, I ain't your daddy. Fuck, nigga. Which technically, you are taking that motherly role when you marry a man. A motherly role, a maternal role would be nurturing. Are you not going to nurture your husband? So yeah, you're supposed to take that motherly role because we're taking that paternal role, which is what? Providing and protecting, guiding the house. So we gotta play daddy, but you can't play mama. That don't make no sense. It's really stupid at the end of the day. So, yeah, y'all gonna be wanting to get your shame taken away, but that's the point. You see the point here. All right, so oh, and also another thing to show you why at this time we ain't got to do all that. Let's go to Jeremiah 31:22. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For Yahweh hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man, meaning that word compass means to go around the man. So meaning she's going around the order of the man. All right. She's going around the order of the man. When you read 1 Corinthians 11:3, which I actually also have that in the notes. When you read 1 Corinthians 11:3, it says, the head of the man is Hamashiach, which is Yahweh Shai. The head of the woman is the man, and the head of Yahweh Shai is Yahweh. Right? That's the order. Now women are able to go around that order of the man. They don't have to go through their husband anymore. Now they can just go to the government, go to the so-called white man. Right? They don't have to go through their husband anymore. All right? They could just go around the order at this point. So if y'all could just go around the order, why the hell would we? It's a new thing in the earth. Y'all can pass the man. So y'all make more than men. Y'all make as much as men and more than men. Y'all have more opportunities than men. Y'all get more benefits than men. You know what I'm saying? So what are you talking about? further scripture to show you we ain't in the time where a man got to provide financially for a woman. We're not in that time. Bitch, you working, you making money. What's the problem? I don't get it. Now, obviously in a marriage, you help each other out. The woman is supposed to help the man, but obviously a man who loves a woman, he gonna help you out too. He gonna help you out. He gonna make sure you good. But you women gotta lose that bullshit ass mindset that y'all the prize. That's crazy work. You're not. It's crazy to think that. So we're gonna go back to the video. Why I keep doing that?
Responsible. However, I want a man that can accommodate me. I'm Muslim, so in our traditional relationship, the man I'm Muslim, so in our traditional relationship, the man is financially responsible. However, I want a man that can accommodate me. Once that accommodation no longer fits me is when I would like move on with someone else.
So she believes the man is supposed to accommodate her. And if the accommodation doesn't work anymore, she could just leave him for somebody else, which is what you kind of saw in Exodus 21. But then Yahweh Shai came in Matthew 19 and said, nah, Moses only said that because y'all was hard-headed. That ain't how it's supposed to go. That's not how it was in the beginning. So no, you ain't supposed to do that. It's in Exodus 21, but Yahweh Shai came up and said, nah, you ain't supposed to do that. He only said that because it's the hardness of your heart. You can't lead a man, and a man can't lead your ass unless you commit adultery.
I want a new car and he can't provide it, then I just wouldn't be with him.
But so what if you're staying at home and he's making enough money to do that, but you want a new car and he says no? Are you leaving him?
I think that's a conversation between us.
It's a conversation? So it's like, okay, you're like, hi, I want a new car. And he's like, no. Shouldn't that be the end of it?
I feel like we should just...
I feel. Yeah, women's feelings have gotten them put in terrible situations throughout the course of history. How about you stop feeling? Because when you feeling some shit, that's you thoughting. How about you start fucking thinking? Stop thoughting and start thinking. That's y'all bitches' problem, man. And a lot of you the problem with you fucking men too. Y'all motherfuckers always thoughting instead of thinking. Stop thoughting and start thinking, man. Think. If she wasn't thoughting here and started thinking, she'd realize this shit was retarded. The hell you talking about? The man has the last say-so in the household, man. He has the first and the last say. Your opinion really don't fucking matter. Now, us brothers, we're not tyrants. So there are times where we may even ask our women, hey, what you think about this? Or we may allow our women to give an opinion on something. Does that mean we typically act on it? Nigga, fuck no. I could count on one hand how many times I've acted off something my woman gave as an opinion. But we're not tyrants, so, you know, Jake ain't just bully, so we still hear you out at times. But really, your opinion don't fucking matter, man.
That's why it is a no, because it could be a no because of where we are at.
A bitch wouldn't have this mindset if she saw Sophia getting stoned. Well, I'm not gonna use Sophia because that represents wisdom. If she saw goddamn Stephanie getting stoned on a Wednesday evening, the bitch wouldn't have the same mindset, man. If she saw bitches getting rock showers for this shit. And women have always had this mindset, even back in the ancient world. They just didn't do it because they saw Becky getting stoned at 12 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon. That's why. In the 6th hour, they saw a bitch getting stoned. That's why they even blew that bullshit then. You know what I'm saying? That's why. Because when you go back to Ecclesiastes 7 concerning Solomon's research, what did he say? Out of 1,000 women, he found not one righteous. So y'all have always had this stupid ass mindset. Y'all better wake up out that shit or y'all gonna be utterly destroyed.
Financially?
Yeah, he's like, no, we're not gonna do that.
Then I would go with someone else that would be able to financially.
And that's adultery.
Could you leave your...
Yes.
This is a quote-unquote Muslim, by the way. Haram.
I would.
You would leave your husband...
For a car?
Because he doesn't...
Right, like Becky said, for a car? You gonna leave a nigga just for a car? Haram.
Want to buy you a new car.
Yes.
But you just like can't.
I'm Muslim.
The bitch is retarded. This shit crazy. Haram. Like he even put
Be
it
able to finance.
He even put it in the caption. Haram. Haram. Nigga, you fucking kidding me, bruh? Is you kidding me? I don't know who the fuck these bitches think they are, man. And it's not even a shocker, of course. I'm not saying this out of shock, like, oh my God, I can't believe this. This is what happens when the wicked beareth rule. This is why there has to be one that is profitable set up over the earth, which in due time, as Ecclesiasticus says, one that is profitable to rule will be set up in due time. Because this shit is crazy. Women wouldn't even have the freedom wouldn't even have a platform to speak on if it weren't for men. You shouldn't have a platform to speak on at all. And I think they said something else in these comments. Let me see. I saw something in this comment, maybe another post. No, I'm thinking of another post. But anyway, you see the bullshit, bro. This shit is crazy. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 11. We're going to get to that. Oh, my goodness gracious. So, I quoted this earlier. 1 Corinthians 11:3. But I will have you know that the head of every man is Hamashiach, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of Hamashiach is God. All right? So, the head of the woman is the man. What the man says goes. The man is not there to accommodate you. You are there to accommodate the man. When you go into the definition of the word accommodate. God damn it. Maybe spelling it wrong. Hold on 1 second. I'm seeing the calls. No, okay. Yeah, sure. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Accommodate. The word accommodate is a versatile verb meaning to provide space for, supply with needed items like lodging, or to adapt to someone's needs or wishes. So she wants her husband to adapt to her needs and wishes, which is not what y'all were created for. It's not what you were created for. You weren't created to have a man basically cater to you. This shit can piss me off. Get me from in front of this shit. Salakia. To provide, so she wants a man that's going to adapt to her needs and wishes, which ultimately is really just her wishes. She wants him to adapt to her needs and then wants him to adapt to her wishes as well. If you can buy me a new car, which buying a new car is really retarded. You losing money as soon as you drive a brand new car off the lot. Dumb bitch. It's better to buy a used one. All right, a good used car that has some mileage put on it. All right, but anyway, I want a brand new car. If you can't give me a brand new car, if you refuse to give me a brand new car, then I'm going. This is crazy. You're supposed to accommodate the man's needs and wishes. That's what you're supposed to accommodate, not the other way around. And we're going to show you further on in the scriptures when you go down to verse 8. Yeah, verse 8. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. For this all... No, this gets into something else. This gets into a woman having her head covered and stuff, so Salakia. But that's the point. Verse 8 and 9. All right, let's read that again. For the man is not of the woman, but the woman of the man. Neither was the man created for the woman, but the woman for the man. The woman was created for the man. The man wasn't created for your sake. You were created for the man's sake. To further prove that, we'll just show you in Genesis 2. I believe that's what I had set up next. Yeah. Genesis 2, we'll jump down to verse 18. Now we read it in the KJV and the NLT. It says, and the Lord God said, it is not good that man should be alone. I will make him an helpmeet for him. Then the Lord power said, it is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper who is just right for him. Meaning he's making us an accommodator. He's making someone that's going to accommodate to us. Not us. Not making someone that we have to accommodate to. Y'all were created to accommodate the man, not the other way around. You women have been bugged the hell out because Esau has bugged you out in the mind. Y'all are all bugged out in the men brain. Bugged out. This all goes back to that Jeremiah 31 and 22. Y'all compass the man. So now everything is in a different order now, which is a part of the curses. And when you go to Isaiah 3 and 12 even, it says women shall rule over men. Let's get that. Then we're going to come back. It says, Isaiah 3 and 12, as for my people, children are their oppressors, talking about Esau, Edom, and women rule over them. O my people, they which lead thee cause thee to err and destroy the ways of thy path. So women ruling over men, you're part of that leader, leading men. You destroyed the paths. You caused men to err. Like, you got to be out of your mind. And if a man accepts some shit like that, he's out of his fucking mind too. And there's a lot of simp-ass niggas today. A whole lot of them. So yeah, women rule over us. Not me, not personally, not brothers personally, but we talking about in a generalized sense. Women are held to a high revere today. They're on a pedestal today, which is completely off. That's that Queen of Heaven spirit that is spoken about in the book of Jeremiah back in the Babylonian Empire. That shit is back here today and running rampant. That Queen of Heaven spirit was in the church of Ephesus. This is why Apostle Paul had to, he had to say something to Timothy. He was like, nah, nigga, fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that. And that Queen of Heaven spirit from the church of Ephesus was leaching over to the church of Corinth. That's why Apostle Paul had to say what he said in 1 Corinthians 14. And that's why he had to say what he said in 1 Corinthians 7 and 11. That Queen of Heaven spirit, man. That shit got to be destroyed. And it will be in due time. So let's go back to Genesis 3 or 2. So a helper. When you go into that word helper, actually, I want to see what it say. Regardless of what it say, I'm going to say the correct definition. But let's see what it say. Aid, help me. Succor. The one who helps. All right, now another word for help, because I thought I would have said it, is serve. A helper is also known as a servant. A servant. So, what do you women refer to throughout the scriptures as? Maids. M-A-I-D. Maids. What's a maid? A helper. What's a helper? A servant. So when you go into the definition of a woman, it literally means servant. And you could go into these other words, the Latin on it and all that stuff. It'll tell you that as well. But when you get down to the nitty gritty of what woman truly means, it means a servant to a man. Really, when you break it down, it means to serve man. Because that's what y'all were created to do, to serve man. When you break down woman, it means to serve man, because the man has many definitions as well. Just like women has many definitions, woman, it means a multiple things. It means to serve man, a servant to men. It also means a female human. It means a multiple things, and it means an adult female human. So it means multiple things, right? Just like a man has multiple meanings. A male human, an adult male human. You know, but it also means a servant. The word man means servant. Why? Because we are servants to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. So we're servants also. But woman means to serve man when you get into it. Because as you see the origin right here in verse 18, y'all were just created to serve the man. Y'all were created to be a helper to men. So the definition of a woman literally means to serve men. So a lot of you women, don't call me female, call me woman. Fine. Serve, but you don't really deserve it, because I don't see you serving no man. So you don't even deserve to be called that in the first damn place. Y'all is a bunch of animals but still there was no helper just right for him. So the Lord, the Lord made him a helper just right for him, someone that's really going to accommodate him perfectly. But yet a bitch looking for a man to accommodate them. Get the fuck out of my face, man. And naturally, if you do right by the man, he gonna accommodate you. That's what I don't get about women. They don't use their femininity to their advantage at all. I don't fucking get it. I know you got jakes in the world who believe like the black woman is God and shit, who be like divine femininity. But ultimately, it is divine. Why don't you use it, dumbass? All throughout the scriptures, you see accounts of women benefiting just by being feminine. Just that's your superpower. Just like our superpower is being masculine, your superpower is being feminine. Be that. I don't get it. Why it's so hard? Because a lot of the stuff you women want out of a man, you would get if you just be feminine. A man be ready to give you the motherfucking world. Because you got to remember, I know the word romance comes from the Roman Empire, so it's really some bullshit. But if you want to be true on who the quote-unquote romantic gender is, it's men. You bitches is born. When you really get down to the nitty-gritty, you bitches is born. When you get past how fat a bitch's ass is, how big a bitch titties is, how cute her face is, how long her hair is, you realize a bitch really born. Y'all born as hell. All of y'all. All y'all born. Talk about the same shit, complain about the same shit every day. The men are really the lovers, which is why when you go where we were just at, 1 Corinthians 11, it says the glory of the man is the woman. The women is our glory. The man is the one that typically falls in love, not the women. I do not suggest you fall in love in 2026, by the way. Love a woman, that's cool, but fall in love, that's a whole different ball game. I strongly suggest you don't do that shit. Because if she fuck you over real bad, your ass gonna find yourself simping. And I've been there before when I was in the world. Don't do that. Don't fall. One of the worst mistakes you could do in 2026 is fall in love with a bitch. Now, I ain't say love a bitch. I said fall in love with a bitch. Anyway, so let's go to it, man. Let's finish off. It says, so the Lord God created the man to fall into a deep sleep. While the man slept, the Lord God took out one of the man's ribs and closed up the opening. All right, which this just really is parabolic to represent it was close kin. He dealt with close kin, which is why when you get to the end of this chapter, it says they were both naked, all right, but they weren't ashamed of it. They weren't literally walking around the Garden of Eden, booty butt naked, shaking ass and slinging dick. That was not what they were doing, all right? Naked, even when you go to the book of Exodus concerning when that golden calf, when Aaron built a golden calf for the wicked-ass Israelites, that naked means in iniquity. They were in iniquity. They were in sin. Why? Because they were very close kin. That's what this represents. All right. So it's parabolic. Because Adam wasn't the first human. Adam wasn't the first man, and Eve wasn't the first woman. They were just the first ones documented. Those were the ones that Yahweh had Moses write about, because the breath being blown into the bones. Adam was the first one to get that Holy Spirit. Adam had a mother, father. Eve had a mother, father, and family. There were other humans back then. The documentation, the Lord just put the Spirit on Moses to start the documentation with Adam because Adam was the first one he blew breath into. He put the Holy Spirit in. Well, how do you know that? Well, who was the man that came? Who was the one that came to them and spoke in the cool of the day? When you go to that scripture, who was that? It was a prophet. When you go to the book of Luke, I forget what chapter and verse. I believe it's chapter 1 actually. When you go to the book of Luke, it goes into how prophets were here in the beginning. Genesis is the beginning. Then how do you have the serpent? We know the serpent was a man, it wasn't a snake. How did the serpent exist? Nobody, Adam and Eve didn't give birth to the serpent. How was he just there? You know what I'm saying? It's really stupid. Now it says, then the Lord power made a woman from the rib, and he brought her to the man. All right. Now when you read in the KJV, it says, and Adam said, this is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. All right. So when you get the word woman, it means from man, and it also means to serve man, because words have multiple meanings. So when we say woman means servant, it's not a joke. Why do you think, like I said a few minutes ago, why do you think in the scriptures a lot of times y'all are referred to as maids or maidens? Because you're a servant. A maid is a servant, man. Say y'all were created to be a helper to the man, that's a servant to the man. That's your whole point of existence, to serve man. Just like our whole point of existence is to serve Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. We got our point of existence in Ecclesiastes 12 and 13. Fear the Lord and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. So the whole duty of man is to serve the Lord, and the whole duty of woman is to serve the man. That's the order. That's the order. What's the problem? We're not complaining about our order. I have no problem being a complete servant to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. I have no problem. You don't see me complaining at all. I have no complaints. But yet you women have all the complaints in the world to just serve the man. Even a step further, you got women who proclaim to be in the truth out here prophesying like they a prophet. We don't need your help, bitch. The fuck is you talking about? We got men in this thing that's been in there 40 plus. We don't need your help. We don't need you. The Lord don't need your help. And then they doing it behind the screen. Go on the highways and the hedges, bitch. Going in the elements. You want to be a prophet so bad, take your ass out there into the elements. Let's see you prophesy in the elements where your life can be at risk. Let's see you do that. Crazy, man. So, yeah, that's the point. That's the point I wanted to give with that. Before I keep going there. So let's get 1 Timothy 2. Oh, and this is a part of the curses. Before I go there, this is a part of the curses, man. You know, if our downfall is men, this is a part of it. When you go here, oh my goodness gracious. Salakia. All right, here we go. This is Genesis 3 and 16 in the NLT. What the fuck? Here we go. Genesis 3:16, the NLT. Then he said to the woman, I will sharpen the pain of your pregnancy. In pain, you will give birth, and you will desire to control your husband, but he will rule over you. So it's a curse for you women that now at this point you just desire to control your husband, because all that woman was saying, was she's probably an Israelite woman. All she was saying that whole time is how she was just proclaiming how she would want to control her husband. He got to accommodate me. And if he don't accommodate me, and I can't have rule over him, and he don't just do what I want him to do, I'ma leave and find another nigga that will. This is crazy, man. The precepts just jumping off the page at this point. But yet people still to this day, yet people still to this day believe the Bible is a fairy tale book. It's really insane. Where was I going to? Oh, 1 Timothy 2. That's right. We'll even start up here. We'll start up here, man. Shit. We start right at verse 9. 1 Timothy 2 and 9. In like manner also, that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety. So you're supposed to be in modest apparel, and you're supposed to be shamefaced in sobriety. Sobriety goes back into being sober, meaning you have to be of an upright mind, of an upright spirit. You have to be an upright-minded spirit. You have to be shame-faced, meaning don't be walking around here with no shame in the game. And you need to be wearing modest apparel, which goes back into being shame-faced. This woman was none of those things. And she said, and it says, not with broided hair, meaning braids, braided hair. Because it's really a haughty thing for women to be getting braids. So not with broided hair, or gold, or pearls, or costly array. Your hair ain't supposed to be braided even technically. You ain't supposed to have gold, pearls, or costly array. Yet a bitch always wants some jewelry. You ain't supposed to have all them jewelries. Because it's haughty. It's really haughty. That's why the scriptures say in Ecclesiastes 26, the whoredom of a woman may be known in her haughty looks and eyelids. When you go over here, let's take a look at the bitch. Salakia for that I keep having to do this.
Would go with some.
Look at that. Makeup, haughty. All them jewels on, haughty. Look at the eyebrows and the eyelids. Broided hair. Like, come on now. Now, I don't know what she's wearing on down low, but up top she's covered up for the most part. But down low, who knows what she's wearing? Anyway, I'm just being tedious. It says, but which becometh women professing godliness with good works. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. She's not doing that. But I suffer not a woman to teach nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. What she wants to do is usurp authority over the man. The man got to accommodate me. And if he don't do what I want him to do, I'm going to leave. This crazy. This goes directly against the scriptures. It says, for Adam was first formed, then Eve. So Adam wasn't created for Eve. Eve was created for Adam. It says, notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety. Childbearing. That's the only way you women can receive salvation is through another man in childbearing. So if that's the only way you can receive salvation, you got some nerve talking this proudly and boldly. Like you just smelling yourself like your shit don't stink. It don't make no sense, man. We need salvation like yesterday. For real. All right. And I want to go to Isaiah 13. Well, before I go there, go to Isaiah 32. And verse 2 gets into how, women are only going to be able to be saved through the man. But I'm going to skip down to verse 9. Actually, I'm going to put it in the NLT. Because I like what it said in the NLT. So Isaiah 32 and 9, listen, you women who lie around in ease. Now, when you go to 1 Timothy 5 and 6, it reads, she that liveth in pleasure is dead while she liveth. You women, especially this woman, she living in pleasure. So ultimately, she's spiritually dead while she's alive. And eventually is going to be literally dead. She's going to literally die soon. Brutally. Going to get raped to death, and that's going to be mercy from the Lord. As Isaiah always say. Listen, you women who lie around in ease. Listen to me, you who are so smug. When you go into that word smug, let's go to that word smug. That's why I get it for that smug word. I'm in the NLT, right? Some bullshit. Hold on. Let's look it up over here. Smug is an adjective describing someone who is excessively satisfied with themselves, their achievements, or their possessions, often displaying a complacent or superior attitude. A smug person typically shows this through a self-satisfied grin or self-righteous behavior, indicating they feel superior to others. And that's exactly what she's doing. She feels she's superior to the man. She feels she's superior to her, what would be her husband. That this nigga gotta do what she say or she's just gonna leave. What? We need salvation, right? It says in a short time, and so listen up. It's time for y'all to rise up and listen before it's too late. Because last time I checked, when you go to Ezekiel 9:6, it said women twice. Go read Ezekiel 9, start at 5, and go through 6. It says women twice. Y'all better lock in. When you go to Micah 7 and 10, it says, she that is my enemy shall see it, and she shall be trodden down as the mire in the street. Women. So great judgment is coming to you women. And even of the 2/3 of our people, there are more women in the 2/3 than men. There are more women in life than there are men. So when the destruction comes, more women are going to die than men because there is more women than men. So y'all better lock in. It says in a short time, just a little more than a year, you careless ones will suddenly begin to care. Pretty soon when shit the fan, she ain't going to be thinking about none of that. A nigga got to accommodate me shit. None of that. It says, for your fruit crops will fail and the harvest will never take place. Your fruit crops, all your benefits, the benefits you get from the government, the benefits you just get from being a woman, what they say, pretty privilege, all that shit gonna fail, man. Your pussy, that shit gonna fail. Your pussy ain't gonna have no power no more. That shit gonna fail. All right? All that gonna fail. All of it. And the harvest will never take place. All them accommodations, all that shit. Man, gotta accommodate me. All that shit gonna fail. That's all that simp energy a nigga got, that shit gonna fail. The simps gonna be the first niggas dead. And then some of them simps, they gonna stop simping and lock in for a little moment. Tremble, you women of ease. Throw off your complacency. Strip off your pretty clothes and put on burlap to show your grief. Yeah. They shall lament for the teats, for the pleasant fields, for the fruitful vine, because all them benefits you get from being a woman, it no longer is going to be available. Y'all going to have to stop all that proud speech that you all have. And you're going to have to come to the realization, oh, yeah, y'all not the prize of none of that. All right? But anyway, let's move on. Oh yeah, now we're going to get to Isaiah 13. Just to go straight to the point, we're going to close this thing off. So Isaiah 13 and 12, one of my favorite scriptures. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. I will make people, now I don't like that one. I'm talking about people, no, it's men. Let's read that again, Isaiah 13 and 12. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir. Pussy is in abundance, man. Dick is not. I'm just going to put it blatantly and plainly. Pussy is in abundance, dick is not. So you would think the one that's not in as much of abundance is the valuable one. But no, to this society, things that are in abundance is what's valuable. That makes no goddamn sense. That's retarded. That's extremely retarded. There's so much pussy walking around. That shit ain't valuable. But men are. Men in general are more valuable because there are less men than women. And that's how the Lord set it up on purpose, for there to be way more women than men. Way more women than men. First and foremost. Secondly, out of those men, which is already a scarcity of men, there are very few that are men of the Lord. Because this precept is talking about men of the Lord, not just any man, not Pookie Ray Ray, all right, Jay Sean. You know, it ain't talking about Rashad. No, it's talking about men of the Lord. All right? Men are already going to be scarce. So if men are already scarce in general, how much more man of the Lord? So we're going to be more precious than fine gold. Even the golden wedge of Ophir. All right? And what was also known as the Ophir? Americas. The Americas was also known as Ophir. When you go back to the Kings and Chronicles, when Solomon was sending his navy over to the Americas. You know, he had the Canaanites going with him and shit. Yeah. That Ophir he was talking about was America, man. The Americas. Because the Northern Kingdom was already over here. Anyway. Well, actually, no, the Northern Kingdom, no, they wasn't over there yet. Because you had King David ruling. They had King Solomon ruling. Then the kingdom split. Salakia, forgive me. No, the Northern Kingdom was not over there yet. Salakia. Because that wasn't, the Assyrian Empire hadn't taken place yet. It didn't take place. The King Solomon wasn't in rule anymore. So please forgive me. I got the timeline mixed up. But still, he was sending navies over to the Americas. Nonetheless, that's still true. That's still true. All right. I just got the timelines mixed up a little bit. So please forgive me. I had to think about it for a moment. But there you go. All right. So men are more precious. When you go to 2nd Ezra 16, it says there are going to be few men left in the city. All right, because all the men going to be dying at war, dying in the calamity and the civil wars and shit, dying of famine and all that shit. It's going to be very few men left. It's going to be men going to be hiding. The city, it shall be, of a city shall be 10 men left. You know, roughly paraphrasing, we go to 2nd Ezra 16, very few men are going to be left. When you go to the book of Nahum 3, around about verse 11 or so, or around about 14 or so, I want to say, it says, in the land, I'm talking about America, it shall just be as women. So it's going to be very few men, but a bunch of women. So what's of the value? The men. More specifically, the men of the Lord. So men are the prize, not women. You are not the prize. When you go to Isaiah 32:2, it says, a man shall be a hiding place from the wind and a covert from the tempest. Let's get that. We was already there earlier. Let's get that. Just to show you. And a man shall be as an hiding place from the wind and a covert from the tempest. So meaning he's going to be a hedge of protection. It says, as rivers of water in a dry place. How often will you find a river of water in a desert land? How often will you find that? You're going to be walking into autumn. You're going to be seeing a bunch of mirages. I believe that's what it's called, a mirage, where it look like something that's there, but it ain't. You're going to see a bunch of them hoes, but you ain't going to really see no water in the desert. It's very rare to come upon. I'm sure you ain't going to bite into a cactus, bitch. Because the cactus got water. I'm sure you ain't going to bite into that bitch. So, like, what you talking about? All right? Gonna bite into that bitch, break your face, cut your face all up. So what you going to do? Meaning it's going to be very rare. A man like that will be very rare, and that's a man of the Lord. It says as the shadow of a great rock in a weary land. A weary land is also talking about a desert land. A great rock can give you shade from the heat, from the sun. And even that's hard to come upon in a desert. That's even hard to come upon. So ultimately showing you that a man of the Lord will be very scarce in that day. Isaiah 4:1, we read that earlier, shows you 1 man to 7 women. And 7 just means completion. It could be way more than 7 women. It could be 5 women. But it could be even way more than 7 women. Women just means completion. It's going to be multiple women to 1 man. Also showing you it's going to be a scarcity of men of the Lord in that day, and men in general. When you go to Isaiah 33:6, which is the next chapter, it says, for wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times. Well, who are the only ones that got wisdom and knowledge? The men of the Lord. And strength of salvation, because that's the strength of our salvation, having this wisdom and knowledge. The fear of the Lord is our treasure. Well, how many people fear the Lord? Only the men of the Lord, obviously. That's very rare. Very rare. Y'all better lock in. So anyway, y'all women have lost your mind. Wake up out of that. All right, that's why I got that Isaiah 32. Wake up out of that before it's too late. So I'd like to close this lesson, giving all praise, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai, Ba'Hashem, Rachak, Wadash, double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who have taught us all this truth in the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahushai. And until next time, Abba Babal, Kwame Asherala, Gadol Abadiam, Lababal, Hagadol, Yahweh Mahar, Wahabatham. And Lord willing, this lesson was edifying to those out there listening and learning. And until next time,